Well, shit fire. I didn't make it in the frame at all this time. Ta-da! Here I am. It's funny, I can't see my eyes or nothing in this. Can you see them? Good morning. Good morning. Listen, I don't know how to X you down now. If I want to go, oh yeah, I do. We're going to get in. We're going to talk about, I don't know where I should stare. I should stare right there. I'm going to stare up there. So, it's so cold in here, man. Listen, in order to bring most of you guys aboard, I'm going to do a quick little in-doc on what these numbers and things mean. All right, so unbeknownst to me, I've been following a number system for a while when it comes down to learning what the different numbers in numerology and when it comes to the Bible, what it means. All right, and it's based off of they're based off of Greek cosmology. All right, and many of these things are working off of the mind. All right. And like 4 stages of consciousness. In fact, argue that there are 5. That the first is the state of consciousness that we're in. This is where we're at right now, conscious and awake and alert and very black. This is the skin. This is mankind. This is beta conscious. All right, so that's the first one. All right, it's Earth. That's Earth. That's how we get the word Earth or name Earth for our lower mind, because that's what we're working out of, and that's what's ruling us. That's Father. All right. So, second things is going to be when we disrobe. We have to take our clothes off and take our garments off. We have to rent our clothing. We have to wash our faces. And then we have to slip out of our clothes so that we can, shirk what is bad. What is the black of us? The dark side. The lower mind. The male side of us. Father, again. So we get to go in, and this is our baptism, all right? So it's the first thing that you do when you go under, when you slip into the dark side, or, it's the underworld, all right? That's between Libra, which is, nightfall, and morning, which is Aries, over on the other side. So you have all those different things that you go through at nighttime, bringing midnight to, right down low. It's the lowest thing. It's right there between what would be considered Sagittarius and Capricorn. That's where Christ dies all the time. That's where Christ dies on the cross. All right, so the first thing he does is he goes and takes off his clothes, right? And then that second stage, and that's called beta. Beta is water. Water means the truth. That's why in these stories, like with Revelations, I saw one beast. He had 1 foot on the water, 1 foot on land. This is the beast. See, what you really want is you want both feet in the water. But we're not given that. It's not that easy. We are born into the world with 1 foot on land and 1 foot in the water. Okay. And so we have the third phase of this consciousness brings us into theta. Theta is called air. So, as you're seeing, going from earth to water and air. The next, with air, we have Jesus will meet you in the air. You won't grasp this because you won't see this, because it's something that happens that's inside of you, and you're in spirit. Where you're only allowed to see Jesus and God is when you're in spirit. And the way you get in spirit is through meditation. And this is what brings you brings the child or the lamb, because remember, you become the Lamb of God, uh, and the wrath of the Lamb, because you know what you've done. You have sent your messenger to do this deed for you, because you can't do it yourself. Only God, only in this spirit mode can you do this. All right. Then we have, um, and along with the air, this is the sixth chakra. This is right on that brink. This is where people get talked to and spoke to and asked, are you ready to go? We're not ready for you yet, and uh, this is where darkness falls on the land, and sackcloths, and the blood turns to red and stuff like that, or the moon turns red. This prior things is bringing everyone together. This is the gathering of all. This is where Jesus is bringing everyone together. You know, this is the gathering of the tribes. All the people come together, and this becomes the 24 elders. All right, so 24 are the 12 different custodians, and those are the that happens to be our. What am I trying to say? The zodiac. We call it the zodiac, the Mazzaroth in our Bibles. But there's an animal side, and then there's a human side. So they're playing off these two things all the time. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful how it all works together, and it's seamless. And so the next, what happens is this energy then brings you over to the right side of the boat. This is the right hemisphere comes alive. This is her. This is she. This is your mom. All right. So this becomes the fourth stage of consciousness, which is fire. And so as fire is that it consumes, but it doesn't consume. It burns, it's doing all this business to, it's the high, it's where you go to meet God. It's on the top of mountains, or in the middle of deserts. This is where you find God. You have to be out of body to do this. This is why these are thieves that come at nighttime, and you are not ready for them, because you just never know when they're going to take you down. So this becomes Delta. Delta is ready when you are. That's a fun little saying that means all the world to most people, or at least to me, So when we get to this part, this is fire. It's the all-consuming fire. This is Leo. This is the end of the road. This is the end of the turn. Remember, it all started off from virgin birth, which is a virgin mind, and that is one that starts off with nothing. Nothing. So you have to bring your mind to nothing, all right, to get it all started. All right, so this takes care of the number fours, all right, the 1 through 4. But when you want to transpose that into the number system, and 5, five becomes the new mind, because the new earth, the new heaven all come out of this, which is the new wineskin, which is the body, and the new wine, which is the spirit. And so, along with that, you get a new lease on life. And the number 9 in your body, instead of being a 666, a number lower conscious number 9, the beast, the black guy, you're the white guy now, all right, with the 144,000 that are saved. This is the other side of the coin. This is the right side of the boat. And so let's now take a break for a second and talk about the number system itself. Now, the number system itself, it has this situation where in the beginning is 1. 1 is the beginning. You are also in the beginning, because in order to shut down your father, you have to shut down yourself in order to send your messenger up the Kundalini to spark this other side of your mind, to do this job for you. So you are one, all right? Plus, you are, number two, also God's creation. God's creation and his image is Elohim. And so we get two. We get male and female. We get the mother and father that we are asked to honor. That is number two, that represents our mind, our conscious, our higher and lower conscious, both inside of you. Okay? Separate, because there's a seed. God put something between our seeds. So the right side of the mind cannot have anything to do with the left side unless the left side asks for it. And so in the stories like this, the Song of Solomon, they never meet. They always get so close, but they never meet. He'd rather go with those, like I always say, the lilies of the field, So these two, they never meet. We find out later on that it's because there's some kind of a vow of separation that allows us to grow our hair and have fun with life. So this is the second. All right. So number two is about you and me, God's creation. And most of the time, most of the time, this is where grass comes in, and youth. And also, this is the lamb. You are the lamb, God. Okay. So, next thing you know, we have number three showing up in three. When one and two are together, or when two and three are together, which is five. When you bring the five together, well, let's not go that far yet. Damn it. But generally, the number three is the joining of God and his creation. All right. And so with this simple act is actually the idea of going through this motions, through this conscious effort to change your mind by going and using the chakra system, and by your knowledge and your love of God, to seek this thing out and find him and find it. So this whole idea was to try to join all three of them together, or all of you together. And if it works, then you become one person, which is a one-minded human being. Whereas if you don't do this, you maintain a two-minded individual. One mind that you work out of, and the other is dormant. It's just waiting, because you're asleep. You're in slumber. And you agreed to this. All right. So if three doesn't work for you, and you start reading number threes, when you look at the number threes and it's going on the bad side, well, you can know, well, it's just the way it tipped, it's talking about not being connected. So this is the part about whether you're connected or not. All right. So that's number three. Number four becomes worlds. It's the hardest of all of them to explain, because four is a type of a travel, a type of where you have to go someplace. And even going up the chakra system is traveling, all right? Because you have to go from one of those churches to another church, and all the way to another church until you finally get where you want to go. So they become points of travel. And the first three of those churches, all the way to the seat of Satan, which is the solar plexus. All of these things are those are all outside elements, and then you get to the heart and the throat and the head chakra. These are inside elements, all right. And then you get this outside element that pops on when your crown comes alive. Remember, God's going to give you a crown for all those people that can make it to the end. All right, but you have to persevere. Okay, so number 4 becomes a traveling situation where to change your mind is to go from a black mind, go from a person that doesn't have any God in them, you know, which is black. Remember, we talked about this at the beginning. This is what happens. All right, that's the intellectual side of our body, and in the body, in here, this is represented by the color black. All right, horse, whatever it is. Okay, woman. If someone called someone woman that was black, they're talking about the intellectual side. They're probably talking about the whore of Babylon when they're mentioning a woman. So what it is you'll be going from an east or a Western way of thinking, which is an outside approach, to an inside thinking, an inside way of worshiping, and so that you would actually be serving God instead of serving Satan or a father. Father all by himself is not the best thing on earth. All right. Father takes us all the way around. Remember, Father is both sides of this. Okay, the mother and father. But anyways, next thing what we have here is we go from the Western way of thinking. We have to go through our emotions, which is part of the moon, which turns red. All right, and this is the northern part of us. The southern part becomes the physical side of us. This is where leopard and stuff shows up because you spot it and stuff like that. You're animal. Plus, you're the lamb. All right, you are the lamb's skin, and then we have the white side, which becomes the spiritual side. This is where we're on our way to. That's what we want. Everyone that gets over to this side gets to wear a white coat. All right. And so that means instead of a black person anymore, you become a white person. All right. And for you guys that are racistly challenged out there, I don't give a damn what you think. All right. This is the truth. So keep on hating all you want because it's your nature. Okay. So anyhow, the idea is just like when Nineveh, those people, when he was told, when 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 he when what's his face, Jonah told this guy, is that it? Jonah and the whale? Yeah, I think so. Finally went over to tell the people that he hated the most, God's plan. They changed overnight. And he sat there, waited for brimstones and all this stuff to fall, but no, it didn't fall because they changed their mind overnight. The guy that lived right next door. All right. So, anyways, knowing that we're just trying to clean the left side of the brain. That's all this is about, And we've created worlds and all kinds of stuff off of this book, which is really only just trying to tell you how to clean your mind. All right. So the traveling business is not always the one that goes there. All right. It does have the 4, but it also shares this place with the chakra system because that's the way. And you have to travel the way. All right. So let's go on. This is where flowers and things show up. It's on the 5th. No, is that the 5th? No, let's keep on. The 6th chakra becomes, I don't even know what number I'm on right now. Let's see, I went through 3, went through 4 with, 4, 5. 5. Let's go on to 5. 5 is the body. 5 is everything. 5 is that number for devil, right? Because of the 5 senses. All these things throw us off. That's why our skin and stuff aren't allowed to be in here. We only want to feel things, only want to see things. It's the material side of us. That's why it's the terrible side. It's also why it's the lamb. It's also this guy that has these stars in his right hand. And he's got the power in his right hand. We got to worry about this guy because this is the lamb. This is the dude. We got to be afraid of him. So, what do we get out of this is 5. 5 is the brethren. 5 becomes the 12 because you got Aries and Taurus and Gemini. And then you've got Cancer and Leo, the heart, and then we got all the way down to Pisces, our feet. This is the brethren. We can't help it. This is the children of Jacob. Those 12 kids plus that one daughter. Remember that? There's 13 kids, right? A couple of them are twins. And then, of course, the way it all works out. Just one little girl, Dinah. So as they become the Mazarahs of this group, they also become the elders. They become the 4 and 20 elders at the end of the game. So this is 5. 5 comes in numbers with 10. 10s are doubles. All this idea of the beast, the number of the beast and things like this all come from number 5. 5, the senses, the body itself, the beast. All right, it's known in a lot of stories as a tree. It's where you can go to meet her. This is you, and you have this particular fruit tree in you that you can go to eat from. And this is where you go to meet her. Always maybe making this out to be more along the lines of wood a lot of times in the stories. And or new growth, they're going to come and chop you down to the root. And then you just start all over again. That's a brand new you. So again, this would be the number 5. And of course, when it comes down to 6, 6 is the myths. Myths. Anywhere you look in the Bibles today, you look at the word, when they say the word myths, it's going to have a 6 by it. The 6 is going to be right there because the 6 is the 6th chakra. This position right now, or the 6, the number 6 becomes the gathering place where everyone comes together. This is all right, and this is where men cower. This is where men hide in rocks. And they want to bring the rocks down on them. All right, men will. This is this idea of going to the end. This is where you make this leap. This is the top of the ladder. This is Jacob's ladder. As you come up to the very top where you see God, and you say, "Oh my God, I see God." And he called that place pineal. That's the pineal gland of our brain, the 6th chakra. This is right there, right? Boink. All right. So when you make it there, this is that little room in most all the stories. This is that little place where you can rest. This is rest. We always were seeking rest, and so this is the day before the Lord. And you have to get this little bit of rest because the 7th chakra, the 7th number comes up next. And that 7 is heaven. And when heaven opens up, it's just one giant cleaning apparatus that seeks out every part of the body, just literally looking under everything, sending out even the creepy, crawly little things to go out and find other creepy, crawly things because it's a thorough cleansing. So this Sodom and Gomorrah business of trying to clean out the brain is really just the idea of separating the good from the bad. And all of these stories are about that. It's the idea of just taking the bad out of you, That's the whole point of the story. Because the world needs it. You can't take that out of the world just yet, Just take it out of the individual person. Take them out one at a time. That's how you solve this problem, right? So the 6 becomes that window. It's Gog or Magog. It's the emotional part of our body that fits into this scene, that it's open or is it not open. And in the case of a lot of Jewish people, they said this is where their snip is. They can't get past this point. The vine's been cut from this point, and so they can't go over on the other side. And they call that a hardened heart. God has hardened their heart, has put them in slumber, still is, to this day. Okay, so, and until they, can learn to see past all this stuff, and then they're always going to be in there. This is called the snare. This is how, our Bibles become a snare. All right, so we've gone from 6-7 is the day of the Lord. This is where the atonement comes in. This is where fire and brimstones come in. It's also a celebration of someone coming home. This is the son coming home after being lost for so long. And a promise of I'll never leave you again and stuff comes about from this number 7. And this is he that can make to the end will be given a crown. And this crown is this idea of being on the white side of things now, and that it's forever from this point on, and that you live forever because, you came from black, you came from a dead state. Though very much alive, you are now very much alive and in a living state of being, bringing light into the world. So this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, but that little light ain't yours until you bring it to life. Sing about it all you want. Then we get to the number 8. 8 is a wonderful number of control. A lot of people, it's a bad number, but no, control of yourself. This is when it's a reciprocating situation where both sides are working together now. And 8 in a lot of stories becomes like a feast and a banquet where, they're just oh my God, they're just so happy to have us back home. But with those few people that make it in there, those few saints that can make it over to this other side, that's what they call saints. Those people that made it over to the other side. Martyrs, people who were killed in order to do this, but not really the physical killing. It's you when you go about this route. It's a type of dying and rebirth. So 8 becomes a control number, whereas you can see who's in control. By reading the book correctly, you can come to this number 8 and you'll see whether or not this is going on the good side or if this is going on the bad side. Because it tells you if you just knew the number system. All right, so here we are again. Now we're at number 9. 9 is the end of the list. 9 is God. 9 is both sides of God. 9, there's either a high 9 or there's a low 9. And the low 9 is the devil, and the high 9 is God. The low 9 is Father. The high 9 is Mother. All right? Mother's not involved until Father lets Mother have some control. And the only way to get that to happen is by the individual themselves sitting down in a conscious atmosphere where they have actually charged this particle, this energy inside of them, this male pulse to bring the child, sowing the seed to bring this consciousness alive inside of you. So you'll see that, here I've talked a whole mess of just this number system. And hopefully it's a little more clear to what's going on in our minds, in our walk, in our bodies, and how it fits perfectly with the Bible and the works that we're talking about. Because that's what we're talking about here is the works. You can have faith. You've got to love God. We've got to understand that when they use the term God, God can do anything because they're both together. But Father, and just worshiping the Father can't. Father's the physical side of us. And he can't do nothing on his own. He can't. He has to somehow or another defeat himself and gain control back over himself, over his mind, to get this, to get God to actually work in their life. All right. So, anyways, I thought that you guys could use this little bit of help. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I still have more to go through. So maybe a little later, if I get to my, I have to draw something up for my art class. If I get that done, I'll do the lessons of 5 and 6 with the, excuse me, with Revelations. And of course, you're going to hear about it as being the Lamb of God. Well, actually, save us from the wrath of the Lamb. All right. That's going to be on the 6th side. All right. And they talk about standing and standing. Who among you has the power, the energy in them to stand before the Lord? And this is what it means to stand before the Lord, is to get that straightened up, get that line, that backbone of yours going straight up, make straight the line to the Lord. All right. And so you'll see that who has the power to stand before the Lord. That's going to be number 6. That's the 6. Who has the power to stand? It's just so beautiful. And of course, we're going to be introduced to the Lamb because the skin. Yes, I read it earlier. I read more. Hell yeah, I did. I'm going to sound a little smarter nowadays. All right. Anyhow, love you guys. Really do. I did find a place. I signed the lease maybe today and turn the electricity on maybe tomorrow. Just can't wait. All right, let me see. Oh no, has this been working? Oh, it's working. All right, well, best to you all. All right, take care of yourselves.